Just before this episode, here's how you can get more from Never a Truer Word. If you're listening to this podcast on Spotify, you can subscribe to this channel to get early access to the weekly analysis episodes, video episodes so you can see the statements as I analyse them, and exclusive content too. And if you're here on YouTube, then become a member of the channel to get early access to everything and exclusive content not available anywhere else. Welcome to Never a Truer Word.
You're going to hear about my party. They're going to be shutting them down. They're going to probably be arresting me, doing all types of crazy things.
And we're going to look at the words that Diddy chooses to use to see if he's telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, because that's what we will do on this channel all the time. We only look at the words that people use to uncover the truth, to uncover lies, and to uncover what type of person we're dealing with, which is why we're looking at Diddy in this one, because it's been open season on the guy. And we'll use techniques that we might not have used before. For example, we'll need them in this clip.
Check it out. You need a lot of heat. You need locks on the doors. You don't have no air conditioning. Everybody gets a little bit more comfortable and loose. Builds up a nice little sweat.
What's going on there? Is he being creepy or is he just having a laugh? We'll discuss that. We'll also look at how he feels about other people. So beyond the parties, what does he feel about 50 Cent and what was his involvement with Tupac like and Tupac's murder like? There's been so much said about Diddy, so we're going to let him speak for himself and only look at his words and analyse those. For example, when he says
this, we don't talk about things that are nonsense.
What's going on there? What has caused him to be so sensitive about that? We'll only look at the words Diddy uses because that's what we do in this channel. Words matter. And we're going to analyse the words. We're going to use techniques to break down what Diddy is saying and get to the truth about the parties and those relationships as well. And we're going to look at Diddy well across the years. So we're going to start in 1999 with the infamous viral video where he predicts his own arrest.
Your parties are the hottest ticket around.
They won't even give me a permit for the parties, man. They don't want me to throw the parties no more. But we ain't gonna stop. We're gonna keep on having fun, bringing people together from all walks of life. You're gonna hear about my parties. They're gonna be shutting them down. They're gonna probably be arresting me, doing all types of crazy things just because we wanna have a good time. Whenever you bring up a different element into people's environment, things that broaden people's horizon, people get intimidated. There's a lot of people out there that feel intimidated by it. It ain't nothing but break it down racial barriers, break it down generation barriers. People from all walks of life. Ron Perlman talking to Jay-Z, Jay-Z talking to, you know what I'm saying? It just goes on and on. It's just like people from all walks of life connecting and getting together. Yeah.
Your parties are the hottest ticket in town. People dying to get into your party. How does that make you feel?
I mean, it's cool. It doesn't make me feel any way special. It doesn't make me feel like a bigger person. It just makes me feel like I know how to throw a party.
So let's get into it then. What is it about these parties? What is he saying about them? The interview starts by saying, your parties are the hottest ticket around. And Diddy says, they won't even give me a permit for the parties, man. They don't want me to throw the parties no more. But we ain't going to stop. Going to keep on having fun, bringing people together from all walks of life. You're going to hear about my party. They're going to be shutting them down. They're going to be probably be arresting me, doing all kinds of crazy things just because we want to have a good time. So in that opening bit, he mentions a lot of people were there, but he's not very specific about people at all. So for example, who's this mysterious they? They won't even give me a permit for the parties. They don't want me to throw the parties no more. They going to be shutting them down. They going to probably be arresting me. Well, that sounds like the authorities, doesn't it? But who is this they? Why won't he say who the they are? And he brings in other people to it. So he mentions himself. He only mentions himself though as the owner of the party. So they won't give me a permit for the parties. He owns the party there because he is the person that gets the permit. They don't want me to throw the parties no more. So he's saying he's the person that throws the parties. You're going to hear about my party. So again, he's owning the party. So he mentions himself, but only as the person who throws or owns the parties, if you like. That's the only time he mentions himself. He does mention we, and I guess he is part of we. But who's the rest of we? We ain't going to stop. We're going to keep on having fun. We want to have a good time. Well, if you look at when he mentions we, that's all about fun. So when it's the parties, it's me. Yeah, when it's who owns the parties, it's me. When it's fun, it's we. We ain't going to stop. We going to keep having fun. And we want to have a good time. So we're getting some sort of picture of how he envisages these parties in his head. There's a they. They are against him. There's me. There's Diddy. I'm the guy that throws the parties. I am at the center of the party. But there's we. There's him and some other people, and they have the fun at the parties. They have the fun and they have the good time. He uses we around fun, and he also mentions bringing people together from all walks of life. We'll deal with all walks of life at some point, but he does say bringing people together. Now, is that what a party does? I guess it's part of a party, but it's not the sole purpose of a party, is it? The good time is kind of the purpose of a party, but for some reason he likes bringing people together. It sounds like a networking event. In fact, is that what was happening? Was he networking at those parties? And then he uses that infamous line, they're going to be shutting them down. They're going to probably be arresting me, doing all kinds of crazy things. Now, when you have a party, I bet the most that worries you is some neighbours complaining about the noise, whether that's the apartment down below or the people that live next door. But he, for some reason, has got it into his head that his parties could get him arrested. Now, even if he would say he's joking there, the thought is in his head that people do not like these parties, and that there is society or someone like that that does not like his parties. They want to be shut down, and he may get arrested. And then doing all types of crazy things. You'll know he doesn't elaborate on anything there at all. It's just all types of crazy things. What he really wants to talk about at the parties is the networking element. He says, you know, whenever you bring up a different element into people's environment, things that broaden people's surround, people get intimidated. So a lot of people out there feel intimidated by it. Ain't nothing but breaking down racial barriers, breaking down generation barriers, people from all walks of life. Now, I found this very interesting that I thought, again, this is about getting people together, breaking down the barriers at the party, breaking down racial barriers, breaking down generation barriers, people from all walks of life. The ordering of that is interesting. The first barrier he speaks about being brought down is a racial barrier. So this is races getting together at his parties, breaking down generation barriers and people from all walks of life. Now, what does people from all walks of life mean to you? I'm going to show you what it means to Diddy in a minute, but what does it mean to you? For me, I certainly think of people from all statuses in life, from sort of very rich people to more modest people at all. That's what I think of people from all walks of life. It might be a great networking event. You know, maybe there's a banker somewhere and a delivery driver somewhere, and maybe someone who's unemployed somewhere else. That would be all walks of life. I don't think that's what happened at Diddy's parties, though, is it? So again, we've got this networking event, people coming together to meet at Diddy's party. The purpose of his parties seems to be a meeting, potentially a meeting of like-minded people. He doesn't say that he brings a different element. By the way, he talks about you, whenever you bring up a different element into people's environments. So that is very interesting. And he doesn't kind of be specific about who's at his party at all. It's people. Whenever you bring a different element into people's environments, things that broaden people's surroundings, people get intimidated. A lot of people out there feel intimidated by it. So very interesting there. And he uses the word intimidated twice. Do people get intimidated at parties? Well, people are getting either intimidated at his party or by his party. And the only reason that you would know that there are different races there, different generations, people from all walks of life, you're broadening people's surroundings, which, broadening the mind can be sexual at times. And people get intimidated at his parties or by his parties. But the only way you could get intimidated was by actually attending his parties. So what is it that happens at these parties that people feel intimidated by? Certainly, he seems to say that these parties are a little bit different. There's a different element to people's environment, things that broaden people's surroundings, and then breaking down racial barriers, breaking down barriers. That all sounds like a lot of things being imposed at the party, that I'm going to bring different elements into your environment. So you don't come into my environment, which is full of different elements, but I'm putting different elements into your people's environments. I'm going to broaden your surroundings. I'm going to break down barriers. And that seems to be what people are intimidated about. Now, Frankly, this doesn't sound like a party to me. This sounds like something a bit more sinister. He talks about some of the people at the party, and these are the people that he's bringing together. So he talks about Ron Perlman talking to Jay-Z, Jay-Z talking to, I know what I'm saying. It just goes on and on. You know, it's just like people from all walks of life connecting and getting together. So we've got this, again, this networking feel to the party. People from all walks of life, and we've discussed that before. What does that mean? And they are connecting and getting together. Now, for the first time, he offers some specific words on who is at the party, what type of people are there. And he talks about Ron Perlman talking to Jay-Z. Well, we've got an actor talking to a musician. That is hardly breaking down any sort of barriers, is it? It's two people in the creative industries talking to each other. I notice when he goes on to elaborate. So it'd be great if he could say Ron Perlman talking to Jay-Z, Jay-Z talking to the caterers are talking to the chief executive of Bank of America. He doesn't say that. He runs out of steam. We've got Ron Perlman talking to Jay-Z, Jay-Z talking to, and he can't even think of anyone else that's there. He cannot give me any examples of these racial barriers or generation barriers or people from all walks of life turning up. Just two celebrities talking to each other at a party. He says, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And then he says it just goes on and on. So he has nothing specific to tell us about how these parties bring people together. Really, what types of people come together there? Does he want to keep it hidden? Or is that not really what it's about at all? Because Diddy is immense at image management. So actually, are these parties going on and there's things there he does not want to talk about, which is why he's saying, oh yeah, they're great because I'm breaking down barriers, I'm breaking down race barriers, I'm broadening people's minds. Well, that all sounds like a good thing to do. Maybe not a party thing to do, but it does sound like a good thing to do. And he's really not elaborating on anything that happens at the parties. He's asked, the parties are the hottest ticket in town. People dying to get into your party. How does that make you feel? And he says, it's cool, you know? It doesn't make me feel in any way special. It doesn't make me feel like a bigger person. And it just makes me feel like I know how to throw a party. So his answer to, these parties are really cool, how does that make you feel? Is it doesn't make me feel any way special. It doesn't make me feel like a bigger person. These are stated in the negative. So it doesn't make me feel like something. It doesn't make me feel like something. So when he's asked, how does it make you feel? He tells us how it doesn't make him feel. Or does it? Because when we talk in the negative, it shows where our focus is at. So I think his focus actually is on feeling special and feeling like a bigger person. But he realises that's not a great answer. How does that make you feel? And the first thing that comes to his mind is, I feel special and like a big person, but that's not a great thing to say. So he says, oh, it's cool, you know. It doesn't make me feel in any way special. It doesn't make me feel like a bigger person. But I think that is where his focus is. Throwing the hottest parties in town makes him feel special and makes him feel like a bigger person. You want to hear some more from Diddy? This is from 2002.
So if you don't have what they need, they're going to leave.
Right.
Got to keep them there.
Right.
You need locks on the doors.
Okay, this is sounding kind of dangerous now.
It's a little kinky, but
yeah.
Rock with me, but just check it out. You need a lot of heat. A lot of heat. Yeah.
Heat? You mean that physically the place has to be hot?
You don't have no air conditioning.
No air conditioning?
No.
Why is that?
Heat affects the alcohol, and it also affects, like, everybody gets a little bit more comfortable and loose. Builds up a nice little sweat.
Now, I bet if that was shown to him now and said, mate, you said these parties, you locked people in places and you got people drunk deliberately in order to do what? He would say, I'm just joking. I was only having light-hearted banter on a talk show. But listen, this is a concept for you to get your head around. The things that people joke about are very often things that are high priority in their head, especially things that people joke about repeatedly. Think about that friend you know that is always mentioning alcohol in a kind of jokey way. So will you come to my house on Saturday? Well, if there's wine, I'll be there. Or someone says, oh, I could do with something to eat right now, and they go, oh, I could do with a gin. I bet that person, maybe not they're an alcoholic, but they will have an alcohol problem. The things that we joke about are the things that are in our mind. I could not make a joke about dinosaur bones because I know nothing about dinosaur bones. A paleontologist could make some great jokes about dinosaur bones. I could make jokes about my favourite sports. I really, really could, because I know lots about them. They're in my mind, they're in my head. Could I make a joke about baseball? No, not a funny joke about baseball because I know nothing about baseball. So the things that we joke about, we have to have the concepts of them in our head, and we have to be able to think of them and think them out. So for all that might appear like light-hearted banter and joking, he has to have had the concept of locking people in rooms so they will stay at his party, and plying them with alcohol and putting the heat to loosen people up. He has to have that thought and that experience and that learning has to be in his head from somewhere for him to joke about it. That is how you very often spot a creep. When they're talking, when they're having normal conversation, they may come across as quite a normal person, quite an ordinary person, but just watch for the repeated jokes, the little sniggers about body parts or sexual innuendos or so on. Highly likely that they're making those jokes because they're high priority in their head. It's the first thing they think about joking about. They think that by talking about it seriously, they will reveal some of their true character. But in a joke, I can just go, it was a light-hearted bit of banter. I'm really sorry if that wasn't appropriate. That's how you spot a creep. So with that in mind, what do we see in those words of Diddy there? Do we see a creep? He says, so you have, if you don't have what they need, they're going to leave. Got to keep them there. Need locks on the doors. Now, that's weird. I mean, I think potentially talking about women there. If you don't have what they need, they're going to leave. Got to keep them there. Need locks on the doors. So really, this is one of those jokes where instead of, in his mind, if you don't have what they need, then provide it at the party and they'll stay. No, he doesn't have what they need and they're going to leave. And rather than giving them what they need or letting them leave of their own free will, his thought is, I got to keep them there. And for that, I need locks on the doors. Well, all of a sudden, that has gone from sounding quite jokey. And when you think about what it is he says, when you know what people are joking about are concepts they already have in their head, and if you look at what he says there, I don't want people to leave. And rather than give them what they need, I'm going to lock the doors because I got to keep them there. It starts to sound creepy, maybe even a bit more sinister. And so does this. The host, Conan, says to him, this is sounding kind of dangerous now. So he uses the word danger. And Diddy replies, it's a little kinky. So he's linking kinky to dangerous. So all of a sudden, I'm getting from the words a picture of what was going on at the party. He links kinky to danger and to locking doors and keeping people there. He says, check it out. You need to run a lot of heat. And that's, you need a lot of heat. And he's asked, you mean physically the place has to be hot? And he says, no air conditioning. Why is that? And he's very direct. Heat affects the alcohol. It also affects, and then he pauses because he doesn't realize, or maybe he realizes heat affects the alcohol sounds actually, really bad. What else does the heat affect? Potentially, it makes people take their clothes off because they get warm, or take some of their clothes off because it gets warm. And he pauses. He's not going to finish that thought off. He says, and it also affects And then he says, everybody gets a little bit more comfortable and loose and builds up a nice little sweat. So from that, it sounded like he was joking about the party at first blush, but if you actually look at what he says and the way he says it, it's actually creepy and it's actually sinister. So that's Diddy talking about the party. So what have I got on that so far? Well, look, I think they were intimidating. In fact, in his words, people were intimidated by his parties. So, look, we already talked about people being locked indoors. That would be intimidating as well. But his parties, he's not talking about any sort of fun at all, is he? He's talking about functional stuff of bringing people together. He's saying explicitly in his words, talking about his parties, that people want to leave those parties because he's not giving them what they want. Yeah, they are intimidating, and it sounds really intimidating. He talks about bringing people together. Is that people of like-minded interests that he was bringing together? He talks about all walks of life. Is that people were maybe not from his glitzy, glamorous showbiz circles? Maybe they were enamored to be there, felt like they were with showbiz royalty, therefore a little bit more giddy, a little bit more excited to be at his parties. That certainly would be all walks of life. And he says in his words, and he was not joking about this because he had experience to be able to verbalize it, that he controls the environment at his parties. That Don't like that one bit. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments if you can, or get in touch on social media, because you'll find all the links on the platforms. We're going to look at how Diddy talks about 50 Cent and also Tupac. In the meantime, though, if you want more like this, the subscribe button will get episodes as they drop. If you want to get them super early, then you can become a subscriber on Spotify, or you can become a member of the YouTube channel. You'll get episodes like this every single week before anyone else. Diddy is big news. Do you know people that want to know what went on at Diddy's parties? Then share this with them, or press the like button, because that will help this get to many, many more people. And also, some of the things that we've just looked at there around looking at the words that people make when they joke reveal someone who is potentially creepy, maybe even worse, maybe a bit sinister. So please share this with someone that you think needs to be aware of those concepts. Right, let's go on with Diddy, and this is him talking about 50 Cent.
Play the clip, man.
Yeah, play the clip. Go ahead.
Why won't you party with me for your birthday, man?
We partied for my birthday before. You came to my party.
No, but me and you ain't never really party, you know what I'm saying?
I asked 50 about that, and he said you did the same thing to him. You asked him to take him shopping.
Yeah, I thought he needed some clothes. What? I'm a nice guy.
Yo, why are you and 50?
Hey, yo.
Why y'all not?
Hey, yo, I don't have no beef with
I don't know why.
With Fifth. He loves me. He loves me.
Do y'all really
can't
have a
see
beef?
I mean, y'all can't see it.
No, we can't see
Y'all can't
it,
see
man.
that he loves me.
But see,
you really, hold on, you really think that's hate? When you really break it down, you've been out here a long time. You know he loves me.
I don't think he like you.
You know he loves me.
I don't think he like you.
Okay.
Wow. So that's the start of that, and there's a clip played to him, and I think the insinuation here is that the clip may make Diddy sound gay, and Diddy is going to balk against that. And so the very first thing that he says is, I thought he needed some clothes. What? I'm a nice guy. And this is something, especially in recent interviews, Diddy does a lot of. He bigs himself up and says great things about himself. He gives us what's called a resume statement, which is that instead of dealing with directly what is there, he goes into what a nice guy he is, or all the things that he did. We saw it with the parties where these were all about bringing people together. You know, look how great I am. I'm breaking down barriers. What a great guy I am. He does this a hell of a lot. And why is that? Why can't his words stand for themselves? Why can't his actions stand for himself? Why does he have to move away from specifics into these big, wide things he did? He's asked to comment on the clip and what 50 Cent said about him, and he goes into this big, wide concept. It's a broad highway rather than a narrow road. I'm a nice guy. He does not go down the road that he was asked to go down at all. He takes the highway instead with that broad. What? I'm a nice guy. He then says, I don't have no beef with 50. He doesn't even give his full name. He just says 50. He loves me. He loves me. Y'all can't see that he loves me? You really, hold on, you really think that's hate? You really, when you break it down, you've been out here a long time. You know he loves me. You know he loves me. He starts off talking in the negative. It's not, I love 50, or we get on great, or we are the best friends. He says what he doesn't have with 50, which is a beef. So once again, we've got this concept of someone talking in the negative. That is where their focus is. His focus is on a beef with 50. So when he says, I don't have no beef with 50, my mind goes to, I think there's a real good chance that you do. And what I'm going to do is dig into your words and see if there's anything else there that says you do have a beef with 50. Now, at first glance, it may sound like they get on great, because he says 5 times here, 6 times here, he loves me, he loves me, he loves me, he loves me, he loves me. You know he loves me. He says that he loves me a lot. But what does that mean? Well, you'll notice it's he loves me, he loves me, he loves me, he loves me, he loves me. In there, not once does Diddy say how he feels about 50 Cent at all. So I don't have no beef with 50, and then you do not say how much you like him, how much you love him, what you think about him in any way whatsoever, and just say that 50 loves me. That's interesting. Also, seeing as I do believe that the sort of accusation that was put out there is that Diddy is gay, it's very interesting that is this childish school kid type of thing where I'm not gay, you are. So he loves me, he loves me, he loves me, he loves me. Here's some more from Diddy talking about Fiddy.
But why not? Y'all both passionate. Y'all both.
I don't know. Yo, check this out. I don't know.
Like,
I
y'all
don't.
both the same.
No, we are not.
Okay,
we are not the same.
But I mean,
we are
as
not
far as
cut
the way
from the
you
same
guys
cloth.
work and work hard.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, I respect that. I don't never hit him with no, you know, nothing. I don't even think of no other man. Besides, if I'm thinking about another man, I'm thinking about uplifting. I'm not thinking about all that. All them gnats, you know, they can't really touch me. Y'all, at the end of the day, y'all see and y'all know what it is. You know, the track record. Y'all know the business acumen. Y'all know the community service. Y'all know what I'm about. You know, and when he does that, it's like funny to me. I don't really take it personal. I know he has a different sense of humor, and he's just not in my life. We don't have to never cross paths, and I will never say nothing negative about him, you know, because that's just not me.
It feels like something must have happened, though, like that we just don't know about behind the
He
scenes.
loves me.
That maybe a situation, a deal went bad.
Nah,
I don't know what it is.
Sometimes people that feel like they don't like you and they act like that, they really love you. Like I'm not like, you know, just saying it to say, you know. But I mean, it's something about me that has them on me all the time, and I'm not going nowhere.
Right, now this is all very interesting. He's put to him, you're both passionate, why don't you get on? And Diddy says, yo, check this out now. I've watched a lot of Diddy this week, and when he says check this out, he is controlling the conversation. What he's really saying here is stop talking, I've got something important to say, listen to this. Very much like someone who talks very formally may say, no, look, what you've got to understand is, then check this out is the same thing. He's controlling the conversation. I'm not going to deal with the point you raised, but you need to listen to what I'm about to say here. He says, we are not the same. We are not cut from the same cloth. So we're getting here just more signs that he feels very different and very far apart from 50 Cent. Although, again, these are statements in the negatives. He doesn't say we're very different. We're cut from different cloths. It's we're not the same. We're not cut from the same cloth. I think he finds more similarities with 50 than he would like to admit. You both work hard, is put to him, and he says, yeah, and you know, I mean, I really respect that. Yeah, I really respect that. Not I really respect, or I respect him, or him for doing that. Is I really respect that is very, very distant. And then we have some of him trying to rebut these allegations that he may be gay. He says, I don't even think of no other man. And that's quite an emphatic statement. I don't even think of no other man. And then he says, besides, if I am thinking about another man, so he does think about another man. I don't even think of another man, but hey, I do think of another man or other men sometimes. And then again, it's a resume statement. So hey, if I do think of guys, it's because I'm a good guy, because I'm thinking about uplifting, not I'm thinking about them because they look great or they look hot or anything like that, or they have talents that they could bring to my company or anything like that. No, I'm thinking about uplifting. What a great guy. We've got more of that. You know the track record. You all know the business acumen. You all know the community service. You all know what I'm about. You know. Look, when he's hit with anything that's really, really tough that he doesn't want to deal with, he just takes that off ramp from the question and goes right up to the what a great guy I am with my broad resume statement. So he doesn't deal with the specific that he's kind of been asked about there. He just says, what a great guy I am with my track record. And by the way, these gnats, I think it was he was talking about, he doesn't say they can't touch me. He says they can't really touch me, which means they can touch him. Same comes here when he says, when 50 says things like that, it's like funny to me. I don't really take it personally. So he does take it personally, not massively personally, but he does take it personally. If he didn't take it personally, he could say, I don't take it personally. But he says, I don't really take it personally. So he does take it personally. More signs of division here. 50 is just not in my life. We don't never have to cross paths. Now that we don't have to never cross paths. We don't have to never cross paths. That doesn't say they don't cross paths, does it? That just says they don't have to cross paths. There's no reason why they have to, but I do think that, yeah, they do cross paths. Again, another statement in the negative. I will never say nothing negative about him. That suggests to me he has negative things to say, but he won't say them. And again, it's a statement in the negative. I will never say nothing negative about him. Not I will only say good things about him, or I will only say positives about him. So he thinks very negatively of 50 Cent. And by the way, another resume statement. He won't say bad things because that's just not me. Hey, Diddy, what a great guy you are. It's put to him. It feels like something must have happened though, like that we just don't know about behind the scenes. Maybe a situation, a deal went bad, and he says he loves me. Sometimes people that feel like they don't like you and they act like that, they really love you. Like I'm not like, just trying to say, but I mean, it's something about me has him on me all the time, and I'm not going anywhere. So the question is, what happened between the two of you? And he does not answer the question. It's a deceptive dodge. He's asked the question and he does not deal with the question at all. And there will be a reason for that. I would say something has happened between them and he does not want to say what that is. I'll tell you what it is though if you analyse his words. But first of all, he does repeat, he loves me. And then the next part is, whoa. It's like a balloon. It looks really solid, but if you inspect it, it's really, really flimsy and full of gas. Sometimes people that feel that way don't like you. They act like that. I mean, it's just absolute waffle. And you'll see that he uses very vague terms. Sometimes, and it's something. So sometimes and something, what the hell is going on there? And he's moved away. So he does start by saying he loves me, 50 loves me, Diddy. And then he just talks about people and they in general. Sometimes people feel they don't like you. They act like that. They really love you like. So he talks about people, they and you. He doesn't talk here about 50 Cent or Diddy at all. Right until the very end when he says something about me that has him on me all the time. So he's referring to something. He is aware that there is something about him that gets 50 Cent's attention or gets 50 Cent disliking him or calling him out. So he's being really explicit there. There is something about him that has him on me all the time. He doesn't say he doesn't know what it is. He just says there is something there. So the answer to the question is really embedded there. So although he dodges and talks about all these people, when he's asked what happened between the two of you, he's saying something about me has him on me all the time. Now, things are going to get a bit darker now. We're going to talk about the murder of Tupac and rumours, allegations that Diddy was in some way involved in that murder. Have a listen to this.
Some even speculated Combs was involved in Tupac's death. He denies that.
It was hurtful, extremely hurtful. There were so many rumors and things for years.
So the narrator says some even suspected Combs was involved in Tupac's death. He denies that. And the quote there from Diddy is, it was hurtful, extremely hurtful. It was so many rumours and things for years. Now, first of all, that is not a denial. It's a statement that something was hurtful, but it's not a denial of the rumours. Now, we watch things on TV all the time where we see lines like that. He denies it, and then the soundbite appears, and actually, if we read into it and really understand what's being said, the denial is not there at all. Now, look, he may deny that. He may have denied it in that interview, but they did not use that part. So all we've been given is not a denial. And it's a very, very distant phrase that he uses to talk about the rumours, the speculation that he was involved in Tupac's death. He says it was hurtful. So he's distancing there. He's not saying even the rumours were hurtful, or he's not even saying the rumours I was involved were hurtful. It's just it was hurtful. So he's minimizing it right on down. Something a criminal does when they are guilty of an offence is they may take it down to it. You know, did you assault that woman? I didn't do it, rather than I didn't assault anyone. So he has minimized it right down. Interestingly, he says it was hurtful. So at the time of recording, he wasn't finding it hurtful. It was only once upon a time it was hurtful. The full bit there in that clip is it was hurtful, extremely hurtful. It was so many rumours and things for years. Missing from all of that is Diddy himself. He doesn't say that he was hurt. He doesn't say he found it extremely hurtful. He doesn't say the rumours were about him at all. He doesn't tell us how he feels explicitly, and he doesn't tell us the rumours were about him. He has, for some reason, removed himself entirely from that statement, dealing with the speculation that he was involved in Tupac's death. Now, why? Why would he do that? Now, he's going to be asked about a documentary on Netflix which deals with, again, the same rumours, the same speculation, and listen to how he deals with this.
Now, let's talk some hip-hop shit, man. I want to talk to Puff right now.
Yes.
Now, it was this documentary that claimed, which we know wasn't true.
Yeah, check this out. We don't talk about things that are nonsense. We don't even entertain nonsense, my brother. So we're not even going to go there, with all due respect, but I appreciate you as a journalist asking.
All right.
Thank you.
And I saw you started the...
Puff is smooth with it.
That's all you got to do. Artists don't understand that.
People get upset about the question. You got to just say...
Oh, no. Hey, yo, I'm going to tell y'all this. This is very important. I got this new hashtag. It's called New Life. I got to start living it. I had to start living a new life, man. The way I was approaching things, the way I was reacting to things, you know what I'm saying? Just, we all grow up. We all, you know, do things in ways that maybe you could do better. And I'm just trying to figure out ways to do better. I know I'm in the public eye. I got to handle all types of different stuff. Y'all have a job to do. So, it ain't no problem, but I'm in control of what I say. And I don't get into nonsense. I don't have nothing but love for everybody. God sent me on this earth to give life, to inspire life, to only do things that are positive. Any negative things that I've done, that's the devil at work. And at the end of the day, the devil's a liar, and I can't feed into negativity or anything like that when I'm in control of myself. So I gotta always be trying to strive and to get better. So I really thank you. It's encouraging that you're saying that, you feel like, I'm reacting to things a little better, because I'm actually making an effort. And I want to tell people out there, like, you can change.
You spot a lot of the common themes of Diddy there. The interviewer says, I want to talk to Puff right now. No, it was a documentary that claimed, which we know wasn't true, and Diddy interrupts, right? So he doesn't let the person finish the question. This means he might be aware this is coming, but he cannot wait to say what it is he wants to say. It's really, really important for him to say it. And he starts with, check this out. So we've got this control again, right? It's the check this out. Stop everything you're doing and pay attention to me. And then beyond that control, he doesn't say, I'm not going to talk about things that are nonsense. He says we, i.e., I think he's talking to everyone in that studio there. We don't talk about this. We don't entertain nonsense. We're not even going to go there. So that is an order. That is controlling language to the max. It's not, I'd rather not say, I'd rather not deal with that. It's, we are not going to do that. Huge, big, controlling language there. And he finishes with a very final thank you. He's very, very, very strong that he is not going to deal with the documentary which deals with the speculation he was involved in Tupac's murder. He shuts it down very quickly. And you may think that he says it's absolute nonsense in there. So he does give an answer. He does say it's absolute nonsense. But if you look closely, he doesn't say that. He says, we don't talk about things that are nonsense. We don't even entertain nonsense, my brother. Yeah? So that's what he says. But he does not say this is nonsense. He does not say what was in the documentary is nonsense. He just says, I'm not going to talk about nonsense. And if he doesn't say it, we can't infer that he means it. What he's giving to me there is vibes that potentially what's in this documentary is not nonsense. There's then some crosstalk, and he starts, and you can see what he's doing there. He's going to say what a great guy he is again, but is he? Because he says, I had to start living a new life. Now, this is a very interesting change in subject, because he was asked about something that happened in the past around Tupac, and he then, when he moves away to talk about something else, is there still elements there of that question? He said he had to start living a new life. This is hashtag new life. So at some point after the Tupac incident, he had to start living a new life. I found that a very interesting change in subject. But is he living that new life? He says, I got to start living it. Well, that doesn't mean that he is living it. In fact, it's still sometime in the future that he is going to start living this new life. So has he changed that much? And then he talks about himself, the way I was approaching things and the way I was reacting to things. So he talks about himself there around his approach to things, his reaction to things. And then you may feel, he says, I've grown up. But once more, he doesn't say that. He just talks about everyone. We all grow up. We all, do things in ways that maybe you could do better. So he doesn't join himself to growing up, and he doesn't join himself to doing better. So is he really living better? Has he really changed his life? Or does he just want to give us the impression that he's changed his life? His words don't feel genuine that he has changed his life. He's got to start changing it at some point in the future. We all grow up. Well, that's true. But have you grown up, or have you not grown up? He says, I'm just trying to figure out ways to do better. I'm just trying to figure out ways to do better. So once more, trying suggests that this hasn't actually happened yet. He's trying, but he hasn't succeeded. And even then, it's not, I'm trying to be better. It's ways to do better. So he hasn't even got to the doing better part yet, because he doesn't know how to get better. And then he says, I'm in control of what I say. Well, don't we know it? Yo, check this out, as Diddy would say. He is in control of what he says. But that doesn't mean he was in control of what he did. And once more, I don't get into nonsense, but he doesn't say this documentary is full of nonsense. And then, hey, he goes into the great, look at me, I've nothing but love for everybody, and God sent me to give to this earth to give life. So this isn't just what a great entrepreneur I am and all the stuff I do for communities and so on. Now, all of a sudden, with the biggest allegation we've seen put to him so far, he's here doing the work of God. And as regular viewers will know, when people talk about God, then there is very often a deceptive element there, and it's some sort of shield to say, hey, by the way, I'm a believer in God. In fact, God sent me, so how can I be here to do any bad things? Now, if you haven't done any bad things, why do you want to bring God into it? Why is God your proof that you haven't done any bad things? And he does say he's done bad things. Any negative things that I've done, that's the devil at work. So he has done negative things, and he's blaming them on the devil. And the devil's a liar, by the way. So if we've heard any lies in this interview so far, the devil has done them. But he does admit there, he has done negative things. And he says, I can't feed into negativity or things like that. And when I'm in control of myself. So are there times when he's not in control of himself? Because I'm getting the feeling here that he has not changed from, he claims to have changed, he claims to have grown up, or that's the impression that he wants to give, but his words say that that hasn't happened. He says, I always got to be trying to strive and to get better. So we've got gotta, so that means he hasn't, it's got, it's in the future, be trying. So again, trying just means putting some effort in, but it does not mean achieving. It's not, I'm always being better, or I wake up every day and I'm a better person. It's not that at all. It's, I've got to do this, I've got to try, I've got to strive. None of those things suggest attainment of being a better person at all. And he says, I'm making an effort. And then he says, I want to tell people out there, you can change. But he does not say that he has changed. And that is Diddy talking, or avoiding talking, about the death of Tupac. What do you think? Let's look at what I think about what we've seen from Diddy. He talks about the parties. I found that really creepy. I think he showed his controlling element around of his personality, but also around the environment of the parties. And there was a level of discomfort around the parties, the intimidation, the fact that people wanted to leave, but they were locked in. The parties did not like him talking about them at all. And that was 20 plus years ago that he was talking about these parties. On 50 Cent, Diddy does not like him, but won't say that out loud because he wants to look like a great guy. And he said, in his words, 50 Cent has something on me. If that is news to you, I would check out 50 Cent's social media feeds recently, because it does seem like he has a lot on Diddy. And Diddy knew at the time of that interview that 50 Cent had something on him. And on Tupac, he was very sensitive to both the excerpts that we watched where Tupac came up. He creates massive distance between himself and the allegations that are put to him. And in both cases, there was no denial, nothing at all, nothing to say these claims are rubbish, nothing to say these are lies or these allegations are false, none of that whatsoever. And I have to ask, why was he not strong on either of them? Why, when talking about Tupac, did he create distance? Why was he very sensitive about it? And why was there no reliable denial of any of that speculation in there whatsoever? And what about Diddy the person? He's controlling. We saw that in every single clip, that he tried to control what was being said. He tried to control what would be talked about, and he talked about having control over other people as well. Listen, this guy definitely has a dark side. He spoke about the devil making him do negative things. The way he laughed about locking women inside rooms. Definitely this guy has a dark side, and he, for some reason, feels the need to do a lot of image management, especially when his back's against the wall, when something is being said to him that he doesn't like. Instead of dealing with that, he says what a great guy he is and what great work he does for people. Why is that? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one of them. Please share this with anyone that you think is interested in Diddy. That helps the work of this channel get around, because it takes hours to pull something like this together. So the more people that see it, the more valuable it becomes, especially if people want to know what are the signs of a creep. I think this is an excellent example of that. If you can't share it, please press the like button, because that helps it get to many, many more people. And if you want more from Never a Truer Word, if you want to get it before everyone else and exclusive episodes, you can become a subscriber on Spotify, or on YouTube, you can become a member of the channel. NeverATruerWord.com is the website, and on there you will find more podcasts, more videos, a couple of books if you want to buy them. You can sign up for the newsletter as well, and all the details of social media are there too. And we'll see you soon for something new from Never a Truer Word.